Hey mamas, you're watching Mama Confession Mondays, episode 8. I wanted to sit down and film a little bit today because I haven't had a chance all week. Sorry, someone just walking by. I haven't had a chance all week, and you know, last night I was just feeling really sad and angry, and I woke up and I was still sad and angry. I was snapping at my kids and I was feeling really sad, in the sense of like self-pitying. I was having a lot of why me, and I always say, like, I've been brought up on the school of hard knocks. Things haven't really come easy in my life ever. I've always had to work hard for everything that has come to me, and I always have that go-getter attitude. But, you know, there's times where I wish things would be just a little easier, and I wish that things could just I just wish things could not be so hard sometimes. And I'm sure everyone at some point feels like that, and I know I'm not alone, but sometimes I just wish that I didn't have to try so hard on so many things. And so I dropped the kids off at school today, and I was barely paying attention, I guess, because I don't remember how I ended up getting to the cemetery instead of home. The cemetery is on the Musqueam Reserve. It's where I live. So instead of me turning left to go home, I ended up going straight and took a right and followed the road till I got to the cemetery. And I don't remember how I got there, which is horrible because that tells me I wasn't even really paying attention to how I was driving, and I had my baby in the back, so I don't condone that. But, you know, I got there, I parked, I strapped baby to me, and I started walking. And I started to pay attention to some details that I guess I didn't usually pay attention to, because, you know, usually I have all my kids and I'm corralling them or making sure that they're not stepping on burial plots and things. And I saw some headstones that were beautifully kept and had little trinkets and plants and vases and little mementos on them, and I saw some that were still the wooden cross, but it's been so long and so old the crosses have fallen over and there's no name on it anymore. The grass is covered over it. And I made sure to pay attention to some of the headstones as I was passing by, reading them and reading sort of the descriptions, the epitaph at the bottom. Because I felt like if one person can even just read some of those headstones as they're walking by, then that person's not truly forgotten, even though I don't know that person personally. Actually, a couple of them I knew, but the majority I didn't as I was passing by. And so I finally get to Terry, to my husband, and I look at his portrait. It's the only time I really get to look at his picture, because in my husband's culture we're not supposed to look at our loved one's picture for a year. We put it away. It's the only time I get to look at my husband, and he had this smiley smirk of his, and it made me think that you know, when he was taking the picture, the picture was a picture for UBC. So when he took the picture, it looked like Like maybe he found something hilarious, but he was trying to hold it in to take a more serious picture. Or as serious as Terry could look being serious. And my first thought, because of my crappy mindset, was, yeah, laugh at me. Look how lowly I've become. Which is such a crappy mindset. And that was my mindset. And I immediately went down to the ground. I got baby. I took him out of the carrier, put him on the ground, and I started cleaning the debris and moving rocks and moving twigs and leaves, and I just worked section by section. And as I was doing all of this, I was kind of talking to Terry in my head about how I felt and how I've been feeling lately, and how things have been kind of tough. And I paid attention to, you know, the new growth that was coming up, and I deadheaded some of the old pansies so that new growth could come up. Some of the little vases and things were tipped over. I fixed those, and I cleaned off the headstone a bit. I didn't even bring anything with me. That's how unplanned it was. I didn't have a shovel. I didn't have pruning shears. I had nothing. I was just using my hands. And I started to feel better. I started to feel like I wasn't so out of control. And so when I was finally time to leave, or at least baby kind of let me know, he was like, I've had enough of it. I want to go to sleep. I want to take my nap. I looked back at the headstone where my husband's portrait was, and I guess with my changed mindset, what came to my head was, keep smiling and keep laughing, because when we laugh, we think of you wherever you are. Oh, my shipment's here. 1 second. Hi. So, crazy timing. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I was just carrying this box up here. So this just got delivered. Oh, let's see if we can see the front. This one here just got delivered. And I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 months now, I think. So while it just got delivered, might as well do an unboxing and show you what I've got. Okay. Okay. So, my kids really love getting their eggs. We have omelets now. My kids love them. And they're really into baking, and when we have the time, we have really good breakfasts. Usually that's mostly for Saturdays and Sundays, but we go through a lot of eggs. So I started buying these organic free-ranged eggs. Oh, now you might hear the recycling bin and garbage coming through. Oops. I did not pick a good time for this. Maybe we'll just wait for them to pass by. Oh, they're right in front of my house now. Okay, so I heard about, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Coligny Cligney Creek Egg Company. I've heard about them from my friend on Facebook, and I thought I would give them a try, and my kids have loved their eggs, and so I started expanding it to include chicken, like their whole chicken, and some of their beef. I love their whole chickens for roasting. Which I can show you here. And everything's nicely frozen and packed nicely in one box. So this one's Maple Hills whole chicken, which I love to do a dry brine and cook. And then the leftovers, we make chicken quesadillas. And so I'll put the meat, some of the meat aside, and we'll make chicken quesadillas. And then the other bit, I boil it, make a stock, and then I'll make chicken and dumplings, which my son loves the dumplings part of the chicken and dumplings. Emery loves the dumplings and chicken and dumplings. Another thing that I got for the first time, and I'm going to give it a try, is their organic whole wheat flour. This is from Peace Country Milling and Grains. Simple homestead goodness, farm to table, organic whole wheat flour, supported by local farmers. And so, you know, times have been so tough with the pandemic, and if I can help our local businesses, but not only that, but our local farmers, I'm gonna do what I can, because I know they're hurting, and it's a shame. It's a shame, because we should be trying to support them as much as possible. So I'm gonna give this a try, and I'm excited about that. And what do I have here? And it's in butcher paper, which I love. Oh, okay, so this one's a beef shoulder roast. So I'm excited to thaw that out eventually, maybe this week or next week, and make a nice big roast, and then the leftovers we used for a whole bunch of different things. So I got 2 of the whole chickens, and this tells you how egg crazy we are. I got 6 dozen eggs. And I got 2 of these Eco Dairy 2% milk jugs in the 2 liters, which fit well in my fridge. And I find if I get the big 4-liter jugs, my kids don't go through them very well. But if I buy them in these 2 liters, my kids will use them. I don't know if it's just like they don't want to lift up a 4-liter jug to pour, but 2 liters, they're more than happy to dive into it. So I got 2 of these. And then all the bottom of this box is the 6 dozen eggs. And look at the packaging on this. Isn't that beautiful? Like, hopefully that's adjusted and you can see it, but I'm such a sucker for packaging, and I just love this. And so I'm saving quite a few of these egg cartons so that I can do little seedlings. And here they are, so beautiful. And we go through probably a carton every 1 or 1.5 weeks, because I use quite a bit of eggs in my omelette, because I don't add any milk to my omelette when I'm scrambling up the eggs. I don't add any milk, so I just use all egg. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I can handle dairy in small quantities, but I find if I have the milk in the eggs plus the cheese on top of my omelette, which I guess you would call more of a open-faced or frittata, I find that I don't feel so good afterwards. I'm like that with any kind of dairy, like milk and cheese and all of that stuff. So less is more, and I'd rather eat the egg than eat the dairy, if that makes sense. So I got 6 dozen of these eggs that are all in the bottom of this beautiful box. I'm so excited. Okay. Now, one thing I really like about the eggs is the shell is nice and thick. So, you know, it's got a great, you know, you have to give it a good, you know what I'm saying. You have to crack it pretty good to get it out of the shell, which I like. Sometimes at the store, like at the regular store, grocery store where you would get your eggs, sometimes the eggshells are so thin that, you know, you would kind of just, you know, if you hit it on the side of the bowl or something, it just shatters and egg shells are all over your stuff, which I'm not a fan of. Little fun fact about me is my dad always had a chicken farm when we were kids growing up, and we lived in the city, so the only way that my dad could afford to have a little bit of land to raise chickens on was to rent a little bit off another farmer's acreage. And so he would go there 3 times a week, I would say. He probably went there more, but that I know, at least 3 times a week. And in the summertime, he would take us there a lot of the times because my mom would be working. Oh, I should probably back up. My mom and my dad worked in the same place. They worked at Vancouver General Hospital, but my dad did the graveyard shift and my mom did the morning shift. And so they were always kind of like ships passing through the night. And so when we were little, my mom would be working during the day and my dad would be up. So in the summertime when my mom was working and we were home from school, my dad would end up taking us to the farm so that we were kind of doing stuff for him around the farm, but we were also out of his hair too. And so a lot of my earliest memories on the farm were fun ones because I loved doing it, feeding and watering and collecting the eggs and protecting the chickens. I have a couple funny stories about that. Even about exploding old chicken eggs that smell horrible. Yeah, but so I was kind of raised on a chicken farm. And one of my little jobs was to inspect the eggs before washing them and then bringing them inside the house. And so I'm not a connoisseur by any means, like I am not an expert, but I do kind of get picky about my eggs. So I really love these eggs. The yolk, I mean, it's not as like orange as sometimes you would see as from other eggs, but you know, these are organic chickens. They kind of eat what's around them as they're moving around, and they're free range, which my dad was a big fan of. Our chickens were always out and about most of the time, except for our roosters. Our roosters were always kept tied to their little roosts. I don't know what you want to call them, little cages. And I used to remember telling my dad, because my dad would, you know, hi, so this is a weird vlog, raw vlog. My camera decided to die on me, so I had to get a new battery. So as I was saying, my dad had a farm, a chicken farm, and that's where I spent most of my summers. And I think of it fondly. My brother hated the farm. He would rather stay in the car playing with his Game Boy than work the farm. But for me, that was my happy place, and I'm still kind of like that now. Actually, I would love to have a little chicken coop and have some fresh eggs. you know, the other week it was anti-bullying day, and it seems like around this time people learn about it and they learn how Pink Shirt Day came about. But I find that they use that one day to be nice to each other and go back to being, or go back to their old habits afterwards. My son's been going through it a bit, where he feels like his friends aren't really being his friends. And they have something called friend bullying, which boggles my mind. What the heck friend bullying would even entail, but there it is. So it's, as my son was explaining it to me, my 12-year-old, friend bullying is being able to say mean and nasty things to each other, but it's okay because you're friends. It's kind of like, to me, when people say mean things to each other or mean things to you, but say, just kidding, but you know in your heart that what they're saying is how they really feel, and they're just putting the just kidding or the just joking at the end to make it seem like it's just a joke, but it's not. It's pretty backhanded and it's really passive aggressive. And so I don't really condone that behavior, and I told my son that I don't like that. I don't think that's should even be an applicable term for a real friend. And now my littlest one, or not my littlest, my middle child, my 5-year-old. Oh, now my baby's awake. Wow, this vlog is gonna be so all over the place, and I'm sorry. My 5-year-old, he has these couple of classmates that say things to get reactions out of my son. And my son is a little ball of hilarious energy. And so it might have started off in a funny, in a good haha way. But now it's just kind of progressed into how can I do or say things to get my son Emery to freak out and get upset or cry or get rage, or like my son calls it rage mode. And so his teachers have been working really diligently to try to put a stop to it. And my 5-year-old is taking it so well. He's, you know, I said, you know, do you still feel like they're your friends? Do you still feel okay to go to school? And he says, yeah, I still think they're my friends. They're just making poor choices. And I thought, wow, that's pretty mature, because for me, I would have been like, your ass is grass, child. Like, I don't need this. I don't need this on top of everything else. But then the other day, yesterday, my son told me he didn't really have a good day because one of those kids, I don't even know I could say friends, one of those kids said to him yesterday, I don't want you to be my friend anymore. Haha. And I asked him if it was like in that way, and he was like, yeah, he said it in a haha way. And I was like, well, okay. And I said, how did that make you feel? And he went, I went rage mode and I wanted to run away. And my first thought was like, oh gosh, please don't run away in the school, like where the teachers can find you or scrambling to get you. Oh, I'm gonna go get my son. 1 second. Okay. Alright. There we go. There we go. Oh no. Uh-oh. Hi. When he wakes up, he wants lots of snuggles. And sometimes he wakes up happy, and sometimes he wakes up kind of like this, where he's a bit emotional. So, oh, I'm not even really in frame. So I'm just gonna keep him close to me. Hey. Yeah. So yeah, the boy said to him the other day, like, I don't want to be your friend. And, you know, I asked if he talked to the teachers, and he said no. And I want to make sure he has a good day and a good time at school. I want him to look back on most of his experiences of school, and know that, and feel good things, like, you know, how to, and have a good experience. So this morning when I was dropping him off, he's been doing this thing lately where he holds tight to my hand and he waits until the teacher comes to him, and then I can kind of hand him over, hand to hand over to her. And I talked to her this morning and just let her know that this was the situation yesterday, and she went to go talk to Emery. She got down to his level, which I appreciate, and asked him if he talked to his teacher, because she was away that yesterday, so she was wondering if Emery talked to the teacher. And he said no, and she said, oh, why? And he said, because I didn't want him to feel sad, and I didn't want him to feel like he was in trouble. Oh great, my battery. Something's going on. Anyways, so the teacher said, well, I always want to make sure you feel like you can come to us and talk to us. So please, if anything's making you feel sad or angry, come and talk to us. Which I thought was the right message. Since my battery is gonna die, I'll probably leave it here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Happy lemonade, mamas. Bye. Tegan says bye too.